You are listening to the Doc Malik podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So, if you wish to support Ahmed in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or his Substack. Or simply buy him a coffee with a one-off donation, links to which can be found at docmalik.com. Now, let's get on with the show.
But there's builders everywhere around us. So
the idea in my head, I had this idea in my head that you live in the countryside.
No, we live on the edge of there's a huge housing estate called Wythenshawe, which used to be the largest in Europe. Yeah, and we're away from it, but we're in 1950s semis that were built in the 50s. We've been here 30 odd years, and it was a quieter area when we moved here. The airport was smaller, the hospital was smaller, and of course the perfect family homes. So people are always doing them up and things happening. But it's changed a lot because the airport's got bigger, the hospital's got bigger, Wythenshawe Hospital. And it's very much a commuter belt for those that want to nip onto planes all the time and go into Manchester, and the motorway is not a million miles away. So yeah, living the dream of the herbalist living in the countryside is not what I've been able to do because I have a husband who doesn't want that.
Oh no, I want that. I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to have like a 5 or 10 acre little farm. Yeah. That's the plan. With goats, chickens, herbal garden.
Well, I thought I'd marry a farmer back in the day, but it didn't happen because I was brought up doing all that sort of thing. But yeah, this is his area. This is where he was brought up. A different side of Hale. Hale's quite fancy pants really, and has gone more so because we've a lot of the football fraternity and television people because of everything that it is. So a lot of people live this area really, but I don't even think it's Cheshire because Cheshire's much further down to me. Although we're classed as Cheshire postcode, we're on the edge of everything. However,
thank you for sending me. Yeah, well, thank you for sending me all the stuff.
That's fine. And I never sent you any bank details or anything like that because I just put it in at a low cost anyway. But I didn't send. How are you doing?
You're amazing. Honestly, I just love you so much. You really look after me.
How are you?
I'm like getting there. Like I'm not in agony anymore, but it's still not 100% right. I've got a bit of pins and needles. If I put my head or neck in a certain position, it goes shooting into my arms, but it's getting better. You know, I know I'm over the worst of it.
Good health, of course. You're seeing various people, aren't you?
Yeah, and I've been using your ointments and your that it's a very funny tasting thing.
Tincture.
I don't know what tincture. That's it. I was, So yeah.
I mean,
thank you.
You can adjust flavours, and I can adjust them to the individual a bit, but it's they are what they are. Some of the medicine, some people say I like that it tastes awful because it feels more like a medicine, but they're not all the same. They do vary, of course.
And I got the book from my daughter, and
Great.
She loves it. And she still wants to do medical herbalism. But I need to get in touch with that lady. I messaged her on WhatsApp. She never responded. She probably thought, who the hell is this guy?
I told her who the hell this guy was. And she said, yeah, by all means, get him to get in touch. But she has a young family herself and a husband and change of circumstances. And she's busy because she's running her own business and it's important to earn income. So she does all sorts of stuff. But she's absolutely lovely. I've put a number of people in touch with her, and a few people are doing her courses remotely, and they just say she's so nice, which she is. She's lovely.
Well, you're so nice. Tell me, Barbara, I've got hay fever. What's the best herbal treatment for hay fever? Because I've tried everything. I've tried homeopathy. I've tried the stinging nettles. I've tried quercetin. I mean, what's the answer?
Well, it's not just I'm trying, because you need to be on things long term. And the most important thing is to get your microbiome in balance, because it's about your gut. Everything comes back to your gut and how strong the immunity is and how you're functioning. So that's why a consultation with medical herbalists can assess these things for you, monitor you, because through the consultations, of course, we're seeing whether what we're doing is working or not, whether we need to alter dose, alter way of giving you different things, doing all sorts of things. But in reality, you should start before the hay fever season starts. So in February, you should actually be building yourself up, your system up, and your immunity up. You should be doing the microbiome the whole of the time anyway, all the time, like we all need to do. But the nettles, when they're coming out of the ground, yes, they have antihistamine action, but you don't just rely on that. I mean, I mix them with plantain. I'm going to talk about plantain today. So I put nettle and plantain together, and I insist on people having 4 mugs of quite a strong tea a day if they've got allergic rhinitis or anything going on with heightened sensitivity. The histamine levels are up. And of course, we talk about the things that create the histamine if your body doesn't like dairy, for example, or gluten. So we look into all that aspect as well. But when it's at its height and it's bothering you, it's because everything's in full flood. It's beautiful, but not when you're a sensitive type. So you have to bring that sensitivity down so that your histamine, which is, as you know, it's a normal reaction to things, but so that it's in balance as opposed to going over the top. Hay fever means it's not in balance, so you're not in balance, so you're not functioning correctly. So,
well, absolutely. So, I mean, the big thing is the mast cells. They play a role in the immune response, and they release the histamine along with some other substances. But the question is, like, how do you get the mast cells to just calm down a bit? That's the thing. I mean, the thing is, I never had hay fever for the longest time.
We use a lot more than nettle and plantain. That's just simple, basic. We blend things like elderflowers as well. We would do elderflower. We would do solidago, goldenrod, euphrasia. I use a lot of euphrasia. It's a plant I'm going to hopefully mention today. Eyebright. So I work with a combination of herbs that you need at certain stages. And to you, I mean, you can get the irritable, watery eyes, you can get the bunged up nose or the runny nose. Depends what's going on, but there's some core plants that I use for everybody with heightened sensitivity because it helps to bring you back into balance. And people buy them as first aid cabinet things. But I teach people through the walks and the events that I do, I teach them how to recognise the plant and go and get it for yourself. Free medicine that's growing on your doorstep. And that's the joy of teaching and the educational side, which most of us of herbalists really like. We don't want to be charging people for coming in for consultations and private medical health care, which is really what we are in effect, which this country isn't used to. We want to teach people to be self-sufficient and to pass that knowledge on through the generations. I'm just one of those fortunate ones that had that, but now I think there's a sad loss of that. But half the stuff that's on your land would help you if you only knew what to do.
Well, that's the thing. And you know, when you go out, say you go out to the woods or the park, I mean, how often do you see any plants or herbs that are
all the
actually
time.
medicinally helpful?
Everything, the grass you stood on up to the trees, the whole lot is actually functioning medicine and food that we could be working with if we only had the knowledge. And even for me, I still feel I'm learning something every day. I'm learning more and more about even the ones that I currently work with, because you want the depth of knowledge. Like saying a nettle's good for hay fever, it's good for so many things. But it's
like what else?
Well, it's rich in iron for one thing, and vitamin C in perfect combination that doesn't knock out your system. So perfect. It's wonderful as a diuretic, a natural diuretic that doesn't mess things up. It's a healer because it clears the urinary tracts and the kidneys of any deposits that might be laying down. So it helps long term with arthritic conditions and joint problems. So it does many, many things. So to isolate plants as just one thing is too reductionist. That's how pharmacy works. That's not how we look at plants. And that's why we continue to learn, because experience teaches us as well things that happen.
Do you know what? I think I'm going to do this herbal course because I'll be honest with you, I've been so ignorant for so long. I thought the idea of plants and herbs that have medicinal benefit are things that you have to go to the Amazon to find. I didn't think it was something you could find in the English
I know.
countryside.
In Ayurvedic Eastern medicine, people are looking all the time at the East to think it's better, like they did with China. It's got to be better. It's only that
Yeah.
they live with it all the time. I mean, we've got an online event for the Herb Society, and we've got a new trustee, and her sister is the guest speaker, and she's got an Indian background, and of course it's every day. They're doing things all the time. Part of the diet, part of their first aid, part of everything that they do. So I'm so looking forward to listening to her. And it's open to the general public for the first time. We're doing it online, so it's not just members. And it's dead cheap.
Oh, so
24.
where can they find that?
Herb
Where can they find that?
Society. It's on our Instagram, been advertised. It's on our website. And it's members only pay a £5 for 2 hours with 2 excellent speakers. And one of them is about herbs and herbal courses and what's available in this country and how to do these things, and whether you want to be a home herbalist or a practitioner herbalist, the difference and where to look. So we are an educational charity. We do scroll down. That's the that's the Insta. Scroll down and you'll see pictures of
There's events. There's events. Okay, so I was just finding the events.
It's 24th. It closes on the 20th, I think. You book a ticket and then you can listen to the recording at your leisure if you want, but you have to book in advance. So we sell tickets, and it's only a £5 for a member and £10 for a non-member. There she is. There's one of them.
All right, there you go.
Bit of a bio on what she's doing.
Okay.
And the other one is Kim.
Okay, Saturday, 24th of May. There you go.
Yeah, and the other one is Kim Walker, who's a herbalist, and she's lecturing on a herbal course. She's further down, and she works at Kew. It's research and all sorts of things.
Oh, wow. Okay, here you go.
2 excellent speakers, which will bring a wealth of knowledge to anybody that wants to listen.
I actually might just join that, by the way. I don't think I'm doing anything. And I told you my daughter's really interested in all of this.
We can sit as a family, can't you? Sit around the screen or listen to the recording.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, tell me.
That's really what we're about, education and making it available to people. That's why we have ambassadors around the country.
Okay, well, tell me more. What other herbs did you want to talk about or plants?
Today, are we recording as yet? Are we on? Are we on live?
Yeah. Well, it's not live, but it's recording. Yeah. This is going to go out to everybody.
You asked me about hay fever, didn't you? So shall we have a little bit more information on that? Because I mentioned elderflowers, which around the country now are popping out. They follow hawthorn, and elderflower smells fantastic. You need to get out there and see. And these are the leaves, very distinctive. So herbal identification, very, very important. Those are babies' leaves, but these are the full leaves. But this is a classic that we use now, not only in the kitchen, but also as medicine. I mean, if you've had elderflower cordial, you might do swibbers. But from a medicinal point of view, elderflower helps those that maybe have a fever or even don't have a fever but need one. Because you'll know, being a doctor, that when you're ill, it's actually good to raise a temperature, to burn things out, to get rid of things. Viruses in particular, but cancers also. You need to be able to have a functioning body that the immune system is able to rise it to the challenge, basically, of what it requires. And that means getting a temperature. Now, some people are cold and chilled and have what we would call damp or congested systems. So they're unable to actually raise a temperature. So herbalists will help you raise a temperature. It's what the doctors used to do back in the day. They knew you personally and they would have assisted you. Sometimes you need your temperature elevating to burn things out. Sometimes you need it monitoring at all times. And of course, there's a different temperature that's safe remit for adults than for children. It's slightly different. So that's the first thing to learn in first aid, is what is your normal temperature and what do we class as a fever site of temperature, and when is the danger zone. And that's one of the principles of understanding. Frankly, anybody that lives with anybody else needs to have first aid skill, because you'd feel dreadful if something happened and you didn't know what to do. So it's all about this preparation in life, isn't it? It's about learning. I can see your eyes are irritating because you keep blinking. So
Yeah. Do you know this thing about fever? You know, intuitively, even as a med student, I didn't understand when people said, oh, you take your paracetamol, because I thought the body's not an idiot. The body's clever. It's creating a fever for a reason. So if it's creating a fever, why are we taking
we're doing
paracetamol
completely
to
the wrong
stop
thing.
this
And
fever?
like with children, other brands like Calpol, they're absolutely lethal. We should not be suppressing temperature, which it's normal when we're ill for our temperature to fluctuate, but also it needs to rise. Like I said, literally it's burning out. And that's what they've even learned in the cancer, the scientists and people, they've learned you have to burn out, target it specifically and burn it out, and that's how you get rid. It's the same with everything. So when people talk about flu and other types of viruses, even the common cold, we need a temperature. If we keep bringing down with these drugs the temperature, then we're prolonging the agony. It will last longer. And also our immune system will not learn how to function correctly to overcome these sorts of problems. So we'll get repeat doses. Things will keep happening to us. Whereas if we allow the body to function in the way that it's required to do, as you say, it's, you know, our body knows what's required. Let it do what it needs to do, but have the knowledge, and this is the important thing, get the knowledge to understand what's safe and what I should do. None of us should go into a flat panic when a temperature rises. In actual thing, it should be monitored. So having a thermometer, having some system of being able to monitor, and that's what we did, and that's what the doctors used to do. They used to have people sit with the patient, sit by the bed. They used to come back. I'll come back in the hour. They used to do the home visits. All gone. So we have to be more self-sufficient in that we understand it. If I was a mum today, just like I have been, I've got two children now grown up, I needed to know what was safe and what wasn't, because I didn't want to have to be in a constant state of worry and fear if something happened that I didn't know what I was doing. So I used to do first aid courses in the orthodox way when I was in regular employment in my former life. And I kept my first aid qualifications up for years because I thought that it was sensible to have reminders as to how to do CPR, anything, deal with anything that could happen. Because what happens if your partner collapses or has a serious cut or is in a car crash or anything? I want to know what I can do to help rather than be in fear. So I even carry my own first aid kit in my car. And one of the major ones that I carry is the plant that's coming into flower now, which is yarrow, Achilles, the common yarrow. And I dry the leaves and I powder them down and I keep them in a little canister in the car because, heaven forbid, there's a serious accident and you're bleeding out. You can put yarrow on and it stops you bleeding. So you can use it externally, you can use it internally as well. But yarrow powder on a severe cut also stops infection. No, I'm not. I'm deadly serious. And in actual fact, yarrow has been used in all the wars since time, forever. Talk of this stuff. The beautiful Achilles. Simple, so beautiful. Great for pollinators and everything, but we're not really talking about that. But a major herb for stopping hemorrhaging. So it's been used for centuries for women that have heavy blood loss, whether it be through menstruation, childbirth, menopause, whatever it might be, but severe accident. So what happened in wars when we didn't have pharmaceuticals? We used our plants. So we used to get these plants and we used to use them in our war hospitals and wherever injured people were. We knew what to do. There was always the skilled people who had the knowledge. And during the First World War, we used to teach the children. I think you and I have talked about this before, because we used to teach them identification, harvesting, and then we'd send them by the ton to the hospitals at the front line to save thousands of lives. Because in the First World War, there was major injuries, amputations, and all sorts of things that occurred. How do you stop that blood loss? How do you save lives? It's a major important herb, and it's got other uses and it's got other things we can do with it, but we can take it internally. A very bitter herb, so not pleasant to take on its own internally, but we can also use it externally. And not one herbalist in the land would be without the knowledge of yarrow and how to use it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Have you got a picture of the lovely ferny leaf? Because the leaf...
How'd you spell
Achilles or yarrow, go back to that and look for a leaf, because I haven't got one with me at the moment, but I let it grow all over my allotment. And if I was to cut my, there you go, just look at some of the leaves, they're very ferny. Yeah?
Like
yes,
this
that's
one?
it. Take a leaf off. So say you've cut your finger, which I do occasionally, because I often don't wear gloves when I'm gardening and things. Say you get a cut on the end of your finger, don't go and get a plaster or run it under cold water or any of that. Just go straight for a leaf, crush and work the leaf in your fingers, wrap it around the cut. Stops within minutes. No need for a plaster. Seals it up. It also stops any infection or anything, so you know it's antibacterial. It's not going to create any problem. And then maybe 2-3 hours later, you go home and you take the leaf off. It's already gone in actual fact. I've then gone into water, perhaps to wash my hands well or do other jobs. It doesn't open up again. It's sealed and it leaves no scar.
Wow.
Now you can do that anywhere on the body.
Guess what I've just found out? Like, so it's common yarrow. It's called Achilles millefolium. Right. Powerful and ancient medicinal herb with a long tradition of use in natural and folk medicine, named after the Greek warrior Achilles, who is said to have used it on the battlefield to stop bleeding. My God! So it's a wide range of...
Stories and folklore have some truth in them, but that's Achilles. Achilles heel. What's your Achilles heel? What's your weakness? What's your problem? And this knowledge has been going for centuries. This isn't new and trendy. This is just information that everybody should have.
Holy macaroni. So it stops, like you said, bleeding. So it's got a hemostatic function to it. And you can do it for the cuts, wounds, nosebleeds. You can either chew the fresh leaves or just apply it as a poultice to slow or stop surface bleeding. Absolutely. It also helps improve the tone of the blood vessels and improves clotting.
A common one with nosebleeds is chew the leaf and pack it up your nose. Pack it up your nose and it stops a nosebleed.
Oh my goodness. And it also promotes sweating, which can break down fevers during infections like flu or colds, often combined with elderflower and peppermint as a classic fever-reducing tea. Soothes the digestive tract, antispasmodic, relieves bloating.
That's only a small part of what it actually does. So that combination with elderflower that we talked about before and peppermint, that's your classic colds, flu, fever type tea. That's the sort of thing we would use. With children, we wouldn't use peppermint. We would use Nepeta or catmint. It's more gentle. It's more suited for children. But the elderflowers and the yarrow we could still use, altering the dose accordingly. But these plants have been used for centuries. And you know, another thing it does, it helps to lower blood pressure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're learning all sorts.
I can see that. Yeah, it balances your circulation, your blood pressure. It's anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, so it helps if you've got arthritis as well, muscle soreness. Helps regulate your menstrual flow, supports your immune system.
And the good thing is that people like me know this because evidence-based. We're actually doing it. We're doing it all the time. So we've got our evidence, we've got our information. So we don't just train theoretically. We actually have clinical hours. We work with patients. We then eventually come out in the world, and then shock horror, you might get your own practice and you're working on your own with maybe a mentor, a bit of support like doctors do, but you're out there working, and then over the years you're building up the knowledge evidence-based. And that's what herbal medicine's always been, very much evidence-based. But there's loads of literature, loads of research around the world. 2/3 of the world's population still uses herbal medicine before anything else. In China, you used to have a choice. Which do you want? Either pay for pharmaceuticals or have the free herbal medicine. So naturally, because it's free, a lot elected for it. But they also elected for that simply because they knew it worked, because it's worked for centuries. So why try something new? So their traditional cultural medicine is herbal medicine, not pharmaceuticals. The alternative medicine is pharmaceuticals. And in my world, it is today. The alternative world and the so-called complementary world is what the other form of medicine is. The original medicine for all life on earth is herbal.
Oh, Barbara, you know what? This has just highlighted the little pickle that we're in. Because basically, nature is abundant. It's all around us. Literally, that plant is just across the road from me in the fields.
Yeah.
And staring at me, and I walk past it every day, and I'm ignorant of its benefits and its beauty. It's just another plant for me. And that's just one. God knows what all these other plants hold within them.
You're
what
surrounded
secrets.
by medicine, and it is only ignorance, I'm afraid, that makes us keep our
It is
blinkers
ignorance.
on or shut our eyes and think, well, that can't work. It's just a fairy story.
But it's a system is designed at the Rockefeller medical system, the bankers. What they've done is they've made us forget our past, our history, our knowledge, and make us ignorant and think that we need to go to the doctor to get a pill and get it,
when I was growing up, I couldn't understand what that was all about as a child, why people were constantly running to chemists for this, that and the other, and why they did what they did. And you know, still today I'm amazed, I'm still surprised, but I know why it happens. And it's so sad because people think that, you know, they have other thoughts and ideas. We're all allowed our own thoughts and ideas in this world, for goodness sake. But when you know something, you actually know it, and you've got the evidence. You know, it's knowledge you want to share because it can save an awful lot of heartache. And I've been doing that all my life, really. And that's why I so enjoy a group of people, an audience like with you today, to get the information out. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. And it shouldn't be feared. And it obviously there's safety issues and there's all sorts of things we need to consider, but that's about education. It all comes down to education. This should be taught in the homes. It should be knowledge handed down, which it used to be, through the villages and through the generations. And yeah, it all got stopped, and we know why, because there's no money in plants.
Okay, so hit me with another one, like the yarrow one.
Like very blinky, irritable eyes. There's a plant called eyebright. Common name, eyebright. Lots of plants have common names, all sorts of different names. But Euphrasia officinalis is its botanical name. And Euphrasia is a low-growing little plant with beautiful little flowers on, not yet in flower. And we've used it for centuries to bathe the eyes. So basically we make a tea. How do you make an eye bath? Well, you brew a tea. So a brew can be for taking internally, but that's it. It's a beauty. Pollinators love it too. You can see why. And they go into it. And it's the whole plant, not just the flowers that we use. We use the stem, we use the leaves, we use the whole plant, not the roots. We let it come back every year and we harvest it. And you need an awful lot when you're in practice, quite frankly. And it's a wonderful herb to brew. I brew it often with calendula, which is pot marigold, so that people that have irritable eyes, tired eyes, styes, all the different conditions where they get infections in the eyes. These herbs take out infection. Calendula is well known for that. All these antis. A lot of herbs have a lot of antis, antibacterial, anti-infection, anti-this, anti-that. So we don't refer so much to that. That's the other form of medicine that often refers more to that. We just know that these plants actually take all the irritable conditions out, whatever they may be, for whatever reason. So I actually give the herbs as loose tea that you know, in a bag, like the Chinese do and all different cultures do, like the Indians do in Ayurveda as well, so that you can brew your own and you can make a little solution, which obviously you strain, you don't want bits in. And then remember the old-fashioned eye bath? You could use an egg cup, you could use anything. You could use unbleached cotton wool so that you're just padding it onto the eye, but you want it not only around the eye, but in the eye. And that takes all irritation, grittiness, awkwardness in the eyes, in and out. So it really does help. It soothes them. These herbs soothe and calm and take that inflammatory, irritable situation down. So we can use them as eye baths, but we can also brew them as tea. So it's always usually good to take things internally, ingest it, as well as use it externally. So you're getting both. Yeah?
Wow. So basically, you're right. It's been revered in folk and European herbal medicine for centuries. It's got astringent, anti-inflammatory and soothing properties. And yeah, it helps with conjunctivitis, dry eyes, styes, blepharitis, and hay fever-related
Anything
symptoms.
you want to label to
And
do
you can-
with the eyes, it does it all. It used to be in one of the things you bought from the chemist, Optrex. There's a brand. It used to be in there. Whether it still is, I don't know. But of course, that's got more and more chemicals in. But you can harvest your own. You can grow your own. You can forage your own. And you can make your own. And you can be totally self-sufficient.
Wow. Okay. That's this one's pretty cool. Euphrasia officinalis.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Eyebright.
Officinalis. What's that a clue to? That it's always been used as medicine. Anything with officinalis after the name, after the first name. So calendula is another, which is pot marigold, a common name. Calendula is also officinalis. In other words, used in the apothecary, used by the monks, used by the people with the knowledge of medicine. So officinalis is recognised as always used as medicine.
Wow.
And with hundreds of them.
Okay.
Melissa officinalis, lemon balm, another absolute stunner of a herb which is doing its best right now. It's putting on a lovely show. Not quite in flower, so it's at its best. Melissa officinalis, a natural antiviral for herpes simplex. So cold sores that might come out because your immune system's low, because you're stressed, because you've had too much sun. Who knows why? We look as herbalists as to the root cause as to why things happen, but we would give you lemon balm. We would give it as a brew so you could drink it, but we would also make an ointment or a balm. They're basically the same things. And yeah, but we herbalists make
It looks very much like
it's
mint.
related to mint. It's within the same family. But it smells of lemons. You can use it in the kitchen. It's a stunner with a beautiful girl's name of Melissa officinalis.
Wow.
I have a good herbalist friend, and her first daughter was called Melissa. And she's just had a baby of her own last month.
Nice. And so what were the benefits of lemon balm?
Well, we can drink it. We can infuse it into oils, set it with beeswax or wax of your choice. It depends if you're vegan or whatever. But I infuse it. I cut it up, put it into extra virgin olive oil, put it on a windowsill for a month, a sunny windowsill, let it sunbathe, and it infuses all its wonderful properties into the oil. Then I strain the oil, and then I set it with organic beeswax, organic as you can be. In other words, it comes from a beekeeper I know, whose bees are up land that I know. So it's not coming just from in pellets in white form. It's proper wax, because beeswax has health properties, extra virgin olive oil has health properties, so too has the lemon balm. And in my world, I don't want anything on my skin that I can't eat or drink. I want nothing else, so I don't add anything to it. So a simple pot, I sent you some, not lemon balm, but I sent you little pots, little jars, and I make lots of ointments, generally as singles. And lemon balm's one of them. And also I put them into like a little tin so that people can keep them in the handbag or the pocket or the rucksack. And if they've got any dry lips, as well as cold sores or ulcers, that's the one. It's a beauty.
Listen, I just want to say thank you as well. You helped me with like the cold sores. You know, I haven't had a cold sore now for, I should say touch wood, almost 18 months, 2 years.
That means your immune system's better. That's what it means.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all about immunity.
So lemon balm.
Yeah. Lemon balm. So it's herpes simplex, which people know of as like chickenpox and that sort. But you know you can get herpes anywhere on the body. So other parts of the body, you can use lemon balm as an ointment or a balm, again, in that area.
Yes. So, you know, what I found is, just like you've said, it's an antiviral. It's very calming, mood lifting, and it's related to it's a member of the mint family. And it's been used for centuries, again, in traditional European and Persian and herbal medicine. And it's apparently one of nature's best nervines. I've never heard of the word nervine.
Yeah, that people think it's an old name. And nervine is we're taught that when we do our herbal training. In other words, it supports the nervous system, both emotionally and physically. So a nervine type of herb, of which we have a raft of them, we use many, and it depends whether what we're finding, root causes once again, as to which ones we choose and in what combination we will put them. But when people need a bit of a lift, they're feeling a little bit mood's low, they're not able to just shake that, not very happy with life, you know, they're just generally out of sorts, go for lemon balm, because it lifts the emotions. Things often are like a bit of a slow burner with a lot of herbs. They might not be immediate, but the thing is they're safe enough to use. Some of them, like this one, although I'm going to give a bit of a health warning with it, because for long-term use, it can help people. But you can sometimes need things if you've got stress and anxiety just for short term, just to lift, just to get over that period of time. It's like grief and shock and trauma. They all affect our mood, they affect our emotions. So we might just need some extra support. That's how we view herbs. Herbs are the support network. They're our system. Now with lemon balm has an action on the thyroid, the balancing gland in the throat. So if we are hypo, which is low thyroid, then one has to be careful using lemon balm, because it can cause the thyroid to be a little bit low again, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to bring it down any lower. But if you're hyper, so you have an overactive thyroid, then it's the perfect thing to have quite regularly, because it helps to bring you back into balance. So I'm not saying as a person with hypothyroid to have none, but you can have a little, but don't overdo it, is what I would say.
It's just, it's incredible. You know, I just realized there's just so much out there that I'm so ignorant of. And I just feel upset that we're surrounded by all of this, which is free. And I think that's another reason why they've hidden it from us. Yeah. Because with big pharma, they want things that are patentable, that they can say, right, this is our blockbuster drug that you need to buy, which inevitably always has side effects and complications. They don't want you to have a natural nature thing, because it's not even, these nervines aren't even, you just dropped there. You just dropped. No, I said, like, basically they want you to take their patentable drugs and pay for it. They don't want you stuff that's free and available. And actually, it's not even just that. If you think about it, having all this stuff on your doorstep or a short walk away, it's empowering. You're independent of the system. But, you know, if you don't know about this, and you literally walk past it or drive past it on your way to your doctor, that person you can barely get an appointment with, you're now often just seeing a physician associate or a paramedic or a nurse. You have to book an appointment, wait for it, go see them, get a tablet, pay for it, get your side effects. You're in the system, you're trapped, you're helpless. And actually, it's all there, literally on your doorstep. So other nervines are like chamomile, lemon balm, passion flower, skullcap, lavender,
Loads of them.
hops.
And you grow them all. I grow them all, and things that I don't grow, I can forage. But don't be upset because you use that word. You said I'm upset that I didn't know this, etc.
Yeah.
Be inspired.
Yeah.
Just be inspired
Yes.
to learn. That's what we hope to do, and that's what all herbalists hope to do. I mean, all herbalists know they will never make a fortune out of doing what they do. Most of them work part-time and have to have other jobs. And traditionally, frankly, that's what it's always been like. People did other things, but they were the people with the knowledge that helped people on an as and when required basis. So yeah, you don't make a fortune being a herbalist, but you don't do it for that reason. That's probably why there aren't a lot of men as herbalists. It does make you wonder, but it's always been the women that seem to have had the knowledge, and there's very few men that have actually studied herbal medicine and that are actively involved. And a lot of men that I've met as medical herbalists, they want a full-time job and a busy clinic, and they need to be in the centre of a city or somewhere where it's all happening. It's a busy area. So as I said to you earlier, I'm not in the countryside. I see people that live off grid, and have the yurts and beautiful places. But it's difficult to see people on a regular basis as a result with many of that situation. If you're wanting to treat patients and be dealing with people on a one-to-one basis, then you need to be in an area where people can easily access you.
Can't you do a lot of this online?
No. I don't believe you can. A lot of people do, but I think you need to assess how they're walking up the drive. Can they manage the steps? How they're managing getting in and out of the chair? What their body language is like? What their eye contact is like? What their skin tone is like? I check the tongue. I look at the eyes. I feel the pulse, not just for orthodox medicine. I don't do it as orthodox medicine, but more like Ayurvedic pulse reading and tongue reading, which often people think is Chinese. So I've been trained, but I have built up, again, evidence-based, my information to be able to read other signs and symptoms to help the patient. I can't do that online. I can't seriously look at your tongue now and tell you perfectly what I would need to tell you. I can't look at your eyes.
Can I tell you something? You know how over the years you've sent me lots of stuff for free? I just want to say thank you. And I do pay it forward. So, for example, my local car mechanic, I'm offering him health advice and helping him. I've had someone round to fix my plumbing. I gave him some advice and did an hour consultation for free. Yeah. And I do something like this every month or two. I'm always sitting down with someone and for an hour or two, and I help them. And they come back to me, go, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I was about to take a Ozempic. Now I don't need it. I've lost the weight. Thank you." Stuff like that. So I love doing that. And today I was meant to be helping a friend of a friend. Because I met them and they're telling me about their problems. And I said, let me just sit down and chat with you. But so I was driving to their house and I was running about 10 minutes late. And I just said, by the way, I'm about 10 minutes late. And they went, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting an urgent medical appointment. I won't be able to see you." And I rang this, on the phone. I was like, "What's happening?" And they're like, "Oh, I've got this really bad abdominal pain, the thing I was talking about, the bloating, this and that. And I've been to the GP before and they understand it. And that's why I'm going to see them." I said, "You should have waited for me. I would have examined you and everything. What's that GP going to do?" They went, "Oh, well, they've done tests in the past. They've all come back negative." I went, "Well, are they going to examine your abdomen? Do they listen to your bowel sounds? Do they take your pulse or blood pressure?" And the answer is no. I was like, "So why are you going to your doctor?" And they went, "Oh, I don't really know now." Actually,
it's the system.
Exactly.
We're just used to a system and somebody else taking responsibility.
Absolutely.
And this is why learning to be more self-sufficient and having the confidence and not being full of fear.
Well, this person
First
isn't.
step.
Exactly. Well, this person's in fear, doesn't have the confidence, and is just like, oh, I need to go see the doctor. Well, then why do we always get told go see the doctor? I was like, because that's the system telling you. I went,
Yeah.
if you knew how ignorant most GPs were, I'm not saying this GP doesn't care about you. I'm not saying this GP isn't listening to you or that they have compassion for you, but I'm saying I don't think they've got the knowledge to actually understand.
Well, what happened with doctors, we well know, is they began to specialise and start looking down a narrow field at just bits of us. And you can't look at just bits of us. You've got to look at the whole person, because a large part of our health is what we actually think about.
Yeah, well, exactly. But the thing is, that's hospital medicine. General medicine, the general practitioners, is actually worse than that. They don't specialize. They're just dumbed down. And they had contracts in the 1990s and 2004, for example, where they were incentivized. They got bonuses, quaffs, increase, in their budget or the remuneration based on how many people they immunized, based on how many people they gave a statin to, or a blood pressure medication. So when you show the incentive or the motive, I'll show you the result, right? And the result is you got more and more people on drugs. You get more and more people jabbed. And so the doctors, instead of becoming diagnosticians and clinicians, have now just become technicians and automatons going, right, okay, blood pressure, here's a drug. And instead of thinking, right, why have you got high blood pressure? What's causing this?
Don't look at the cause. No, I get people all the time that come in on so many medications and they've been told nothing as to why they're in the position that they're in. And they're fearful, absolutely terrified of, what if this, and I can't stop this, and all sorts of things. Anyway, let's limit that, because herbs are the way. Herbs are the way forward. They've always been here, and they're here for all of us. They are generous plants.
Anything else that we can expect at this time of the year to see when we're going out for a walk?
Yes.
And is this just in England? Do you find the same stuff in America? What about America, Europe? I mean,
Europe's very similar to us, of course. So it depends climatically where you are and what your zone is. In America, it's all about zones. But these plants are around the world in one form or another. And I'm going to show you one which is one, again, most herbalists wouldn't want to be without. And you'll want this in your life. Okay, this is one form of ribwort because it's got ribbing going through it. Its other botanical name is Plantago lanceolata, this one, or Plantain is a common name. Now that's one form of it, very big leaf. Sometimes they appear, of course, and a little bit smaller. Now I've been harvesting these ever since they came out of the ground because they died down and then they come back. And I've been harvesting them for, seems like ages, and I make them into tincture and I also dry them. And you're getting pictures up, and here's another picture of the flower. Beautiful flower, and then it puts on seed, and it's generous, so it goes all over the place, which is just what you want, because this is a natural antihistamine. Again, just like nettle, it contains natural antihistamine properties.
Right.
So, say you get stung or bitten anywhere, and there's this plant around, then go and get it and just simply do this. Crush it. Some would say to you, chew it. You can if you want, because of course you can take it internally as well as externally. And as I said before, it's good to do both. But once you start working it, it becomes quite moist in your hand. That moisture is naturally occurring chemicals. Yeah. And then say I've been bitten or stung, I would rub the plant that's moist. That moisture would go onto my skin, because anything that touches my skin enters my bloodstream. So it is an immediate antihistamine that stops it tracing, because often, say I get stung on the hand, it might trace through my blood supply and affect my lymph glands under my arm, might make my arm swell up, might get hot, irritable, itchy. You've been bitten and stung, we all know what it's like. It's horrendous. This stops it dead. You don't have any of those symptoms because you've simply done that. And you can keep reapplying it if you wish to do. You can, when you get home, you can put it in a teapot and you can brew it.
So, and this would be a good thing to have in your garden. Because it's pretty
Yes.
safe and mild and
It's in most people's lawns, unless you're one of those who chemically sprays. God forbid, but some people do, because
no,
you often get the
I
other
don't.
one. Now, this is the other plantain, and these two are related to one another. They're the same. They look a bit different. This one will grow into very big leaves,
Mm-hmm.
almost like big heart-shaped leaves. But when you keep mowing them off, they stay small.
What's it
This is
called?
major. This is Plantago major, and that's lanceolata. But they're the same. Chemical constituents are identical, so they're interchangeable, so you could use either. So most people have got this one in the lawn and they get irritated and they want rid of it. And the thing is, it grows in a rosette like this does, so it hugs the ground. You might mow the top off, but it'll always be there. But if you just let your grass grow, you'd have useful plants.
Okay, I'm going to do that then.
Yeah, no mow is not just for May. No mowing is for the whole of the summer.
Is this one broadleaf
This is it.
plant?
This is exactly it. Broadleaf or major.
Okay.
And you see, its seed heads are completely different. The other one looked like this. The seed heads, they call them rat tails, common name, because they're long and seedy. And you know what? You've heard of psyllium husks, maybe, that help the gut and the bowel.
No.
Well, these seeds are very similar. We can use them in the digestive system as well. But those long seed heads, we can even harvest those as well for other purposes. But for the purposes of being stung or bitten or having hay fever, these are your friends. These are what you should be on. And when you say, I've tried something, Ahmed, then you just keep on it.
Wow.
Because there's pollen on plants all throughout the growing season. April, May is at its height because it's grass pollen, flower pollen, tree pollen. It's everything imaginable. But everything that flowers, people are frightened of because of the hay fever. Just use the things that support your immune system and you don't then have hay fever.
So this one is a medicinal powerhouse hiding in plain sight, often called a sidewalk savior because it grows abundantly in lawns, cracks and pathways. Often dismissed as a weed, it's got a rich history of use for wound healing, inflammation, detox, and gut support. Holy frickin' macaroni!
Yeah, and you've been ignoring it all these years because you didn't know.
All these years.
It's just pure ignorance, isn't it, on our behalf as humans?
I'm ignorant.
So we need to be reminded and we need to then remember. So it's all about learning. All I'm doing really is reminding people that there is a first aid cabinet in your own back garden.
Do you know, Barbara, you're like one of only 1 or 2 or 3 people who's been on my podcast 3 times.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm very honoured. It's a lovely opportunity to talk to people because you go worldwide. You do great work.
I'm honoured. I'm honoured to have you. You're just.
It's nice to talk to like-minded people, isn't it? That are interested first and foremost, and that wish to learn rather than just listen to others and get dumbed down. That's never been my way, and certainly isn't your way. And the more we learn about things, the more we ought to really share it.
I'm going to let the grass grow. Seriously, I'm going to let the grass grow and see what happens.
Stop mowing. Mow a path through, maybe if you've got a shed or a greenhouse. Just put a path through, but let everything else grow. There's amazing flowers popping up all over the place. And if you've been one that's fed birds over years with bird seed, then those are all in your grass that are waiting to come up. You'll have flax or linseed. You'll have all sorts of different flowers that'll come up in your grass.
Right, can I ask you something?
Of course you can.
Before you move on to your next one, can we just take a few minutes? Because you did a podcast with me and you're brilliant talking about our friend, the common dandelion, the thing that's been vilified, the thing that's been absolutely vilified.
You see it there in the background.
Yes.
On my poster.
Can you please just do a quick recap about the flower, the leaves, the stem, the roots, and the seasons, and the seasons and how in each season there's something special and beautiful and how it can be used and for what reason, the beautiful dandelion.
It is beautiful and it gets a bad rap, and it's time that people realise that it's one of your best friends. It really is amazing. As a plant, the whole plant, the aerial parts that really come up in the early spring from February onwards, a bit like nettles, they're dormant, so they're there. If we've got a mild winter, they might even flower. but they're still there. They're just sort of resting a bit. But the dandelion, once it starts to grow, you get the leaves and then you get the flowers, and they're all edible and they're bitter. And bitter's good for us, for the digestive tract, the bowel, and for everything about us in actual fact. And in other countries, you said about other parts of the world, in France, they're just standard. They eat them raw, steamed, in with other things. So to acquire a taste for bitter, it's good to mix them up with other things. So these should be in your daily salad, basically, chopped through your salad. So you might have lettuce, you might have parsley, coriander, you might have all different leaves and things. Chop some dandelion leaves in, and you're gaining advantage, because the nutritional powerhouses as well, like all herbs are, they contain the flavonoids, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, everything. They're super. So the food and medicine. The leaf is a natural diuretic, but it doesn't mess up your sodium and potassium balance like those modern medicines do. This keeps it in balance. So it's even diuretic for people that get edema, not only in the lower limbs, but anywhere in the body. But in particular, if they get it around the heart, it's safe to use. If you get fluid around the heart as well, it helps with that. So a lot of women that have had breast cancer have sadly had lymph glands removed under their armpit. So they often end up with a permanently swollen arm and have to use a sleeve all the time as well. Then they have to get some assistance to support the body with the natural lymph clearing and drainage, and not building up too much fluid. So this is just one of the herbs. There's another one that's plentiful that we use as well, that we advise people. So those flowering heads, also edible. Don't eat the green calyx at the back, but just pull the petals off. Scatter them on your salad. Put them on your food. Do anything you like, because again, they're full of nutrient density. They contain all sorts of things, and they taste good. They're not that bitter, and they look very chefy. Michelin star. If you scatter petals on anything, or you put flowers on, then you can up your prices considerably, apparently. But treat yourselves and just do it all the time, like you used to do, like your ancestors used to do. And then you get the clock forming with the seed head that scatters and blows far and wide. And so you've got the seed. Some people harvest the seed and they use the seed as food and medicine. And a lot of people that have just been doing the microbiome project, Tim Spector and all that, and some of my fellow herbalists and colleagues, they've been doing things like collecting nettle seed and making things with them and doing different recipes with them. Personally, I don't bother with them myself, and I don't use them in practice, but I use the rest of the dandelion. When autumn comes, so you've got them all summer long, haven't you? You've got the leaves, you've got the flowers, you've got everything that you can use. And then come the autumn, then they start to die down in the winter. The strength returns to the root like everything else. So its energy is being restored and recovered in the root. So come the late part of winter, as it begins to get, before the aerial parts start to grow on, so very early spring really is the time I like to harvest the roots. Yeah. And our ancestors used to use them like early carrots and parsnips. So they were food, basically. They were a crop, so they were sought and valued as a crop. As time went on, they were always companion planting in the gardens because slugs like them. Slugs will go to the dandelions rather than your other plants as well. But we also use them as a crop. So the root is a bit like chicory root, very bitter, has very similar principles as what chicory root does as well. And of course, the root has a different action, different properties in the human body, and it helps with the bowel and the digestive tract, but particularly the liver and the gallbladder. So if we've got gallbladder weakness or liver function that needs improving, then the dandelion is vitally important. And for those that only have one bowel movement a day, they are constipated. There should be at least 3 bowel movements a day if we're eating a good, healthy diet. And that means clearing. Yeah.
Hold on one second. When you say 3...
Yeah.
All right, this is too much information.
Yeah, but listen,
all right. Listen. Hear me out. So I get up in the morning, right, at 6:30, and by 7 I need to do a little poopage, okay? And then I think it's a decent poopage, but realistically by 8 I need to do a second little poopage, and then I'm done. I'm pretty much done for the day. Is that okay? Or should it be spaced out?
Well,
Like,
I don't want to discuss it here with you, Ahmed, but I would be talking colour, fragrance, quantity. That's what we discuss. That's what we discuss. Yeah, honestly.
no, but let's just do timings. Like when you say 3 poopages, like, are we talking about like throughout the day or
When
a
you
little
were-
cluster?
If you were in a tribe and you were living in, like you mentioned before, in the Amazon or somewhere, you'd be going a lot more regularly.
No, but the thing is, I only eat 1 meal a day.
Yeah, well, I'm just coming to that. It does depend.
So I think
depend what you're consuming. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, in a 24-hour window, it's the food is only in a 4-hour window. So it's like transiting. So most of the time it's empty, and that's what I'm saying. So that I'm not.
You're probably absolutely fine, but in the Western world, I meet people all the time through my practice who might go every other day, once every 3 days.
Shut up.
Or they have what they like to refer to rabbit droppings.
Oh.
Yeah, honestly, serious problems that some people have. And of course, they then start talking to you about what's the best way of detoxing. Well, come on, get the diet right, get the exercise right, get the flow right, and that's your body's naturally detoxing if it's been fed right and nutritionally right. So those that are constipated, dandelion root.
Can I just say something?
Gallbladder problem.
Let's still talk about constipation for a second. Unless you've had inability to wee, right, urinary retention, or severe constipation, I don't think you realize how goddamn disabling it is. Like, you think, oh, it's just a bit of constipation. If you haven't done a poop for 4 days, it's not good. Everything. You get a headache, your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, you've got abdominal pain.
You get spotty, you might get rashes. There's all sorts going on. The whole
and then it's painful. And then it's painful when you do go. Like,
and then people say, "Oh, I need a different dress size because I get bloated and I swell up and all these things." Yeah, it's horrendous. So at least once a day, but preferably more. And the dandelion root, basically, it helps as a it's not a strong laxative. It's not like senna or other things that you've heard of in the herbal world, but it works. That it improves bowel flow because it helps with the bile guts. So it helps with the gallbladder and the liver in conjunction, and you get better function in that area. Therefore, the digestive tract is improving. Therefore,
Hey, my lovely listeners, just a quick shout out. As many of you know, I now offer a 1-to-1 online consultation service. And no, it's not just for people contemplating surgery, it's for any of you. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're struggling in life, maybe you're going through a painful divorce or facing a major health decision, or if it's the fact that you've just left a rushed doctor's appointment with a head full of unanswered questions, book in with me. I can help you make sense of your diagnosis, explain mainstream treatment options in plain English, and also walk you through alternative and integrative approaches. If surgery is on the table, I can guide you through preparation, how to reduce post-op risks and complications, and what questions to ask your surgeon before going ahead. So maybe you're just looking for a second opinion, or you want to figure out whether to see a GP, a homeopath, an osteopath, a chiropractor, a physical therapist, or even which supplements or lifestyle tweaks to make. Well, I think I can help you, buddy. Tap into the knowledge I've gained from 25 years as a mainstream doctor, and the last 2 years interviewing over 400 experts from all walks of life. And don't just take my word for it. Here are just a couple of real reviews left by real people who have worked with me. Jessica. Having a consultation with Doc Malik has made me feel empowered to take control of my health condition and proceed in a manner that is in line with my beliefs. He helped me make sense of my condition, gave me a clearer picture of the medication I've been prescribed, and provided direction on a number of lifestyle and diet changes I can make. Highly recommend. And then there's Diana Austin from yesterday. These days, it's hard to know who is real and who is genuine. So many are imposters with no other agenda than draining your wallet. Doc Malik is the real deal. He is knowledgeable and caring and suggested actionable strategies for me to pursue. I'd give him 6 stars if I could. Thanks, Diana. So there you go. If something inside of you is nudging you to book a session with me, trust your gut instinct. I always tell everyone I meet, trust your gut instinct. It never lies to you. You lie to yourself. So you can read more of the reviews at docmalik.setmore.com, and you can make a booking there as well. So that's docmalik, DOCMALIK, .setmore, SETMORE.com, COM. So there's 2 dots there. docmalik.setmore.com. Folks, love you loads. Let's get back to the show. Bye.
What happened?
I have no idea what happened, but suddenly it just dropped. But where we were was when you're talking about the dandelion roots and how it can help with constipation and blah, blah, blah. So I think we should talk about the fields one more time. You talked about how you went to Norfolk. Just let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's the bit we missed.
Okay. So recently I had a visit to Lincolnshire and North Norfolk because we had a Herbal Society event in Lincolnshire, in Boston. And it's the first time I've been to Lincoln, Lincolnshire. I've been to Lincoln, the city, but not further. And I was really quite upset by the journey because looking at the fields around me, they were huge. There was a lot of bare soil because of the time of the earth, but then there were other time of the year, I should say, but then there were other fields where things were like rapeseed was in great profusion, a lot of yellow flowers, which to people like me isn't a good thing. I wouldn't use the oil. That's another subject or anything to do with it. Even if it is organic and grown in the UK, it's not the same as extra virgin olive oil, which actually protects the heart, and rapeseed doesn't contain that. But hey, that's one of those things. But the land was barren, completely barren, and there were hardly any trees. Lincoln's very, very flat. There's no hills, fine geographically. But the hedgerows, where have they gone? Well, they've all been taken out. They've been grubbed out. There's not verges at the side of the fields with the broad strips of wildflowers or anything. So what about the wildlife and nature? How is it surviving? So I saw very little birds and things of that sort. A lot of birds of prey buzzing about, because obviously they could pick off the small shrews and the mice and things like that because of these big open fields. But anything else, wasn't a lot of it. So I actually found it quite upsetting seeing what was going on. I would imagine there's people in Lincolnshire who are organic and growing and have put hedgerows back and done all sorts of things. But the bulk of what I saw from, I think it was the A17, was like a horror story.
Yeah.
It was quite alarming, really. And you hear people in all sorts of ways talking the talk about diversity and not having monoculture and putting the trees back. But you look at it and you think, well, where are these guys? How are these going to come on board with it all?
No, I agree with you. And this is what I've talked about with farmers. And, most fields now have got organic matter of just 5% when it should be about 70%. And organic matter is life, the mycelial networks, and it all comes from the poop from horses, cows, pigs, chickens,
all the
goats,
animals.
sheep.
Yeah.
And, these people who are all like, oh, we need vegan to save the planet or whatever, and the climate change is killing everything. They're talking absolute bullshit. Basically, they're destroying the environment. They're destroying the earth. Everything on this planet. Yeah, everything on this planet depends on like 1 foot of topsoil. Yeah. And it's dead. It's a desert. And we're killing our environment, our biodiversity. We're putting in these solar panel fields. We're having these monoculture crops. And no one in the green movement, that, whether it's climate change, environmentalists, or stop oil or whatever, no one's talking about it. All they talk about is carbon dioxide, we're man-made climate change. And it's bollocks, because carbon dioxide is the fuel for these plants. We're robbing them of their food.
What are we actually hearing? We're hearing the same words being churned out, the trendy words, the terminology, it's coming out. And some of us just get to the point where we think, It's ridiculous. Let's see the action. Let's see you going in and educating these people and getting things back. Why isn't Lincolnshire now, for the last 10 or 15 years, they've been talking about trees and that there shouldn't be monoculture. So why isn't Lincoln now full of greenery? Why aren't the forests and woodlands and hedgerows and why isn't it there? Why is it still so barren? If really it's happening. It can't be happening. Nothing like to the degree and the speed it needs to be put back.
Yeah. All right. I think we've got time for one more herb.
Well, you choose. You might want this, or you might want this. You might want to talk about Comfrey or self-heal, or I could go on forever.
Is that a buttercup, or what was that you've got?
That's a daisy.
No, I know that's a daisy. The one on your left.
This is greater celandine.
Let's do both. I love daisies as well.
Time for both. Let's do greater celandine first.
I love both.
Greater celandine puts on seed pods when it's flowered. There's a single flowering type. These are wild. You don't buy these. These just grow in the hedgerows and the fields, if you're lucky.
How do you spell it again? Grace what?
Greater celandine. 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 Chaladonia majus is its botanical name. Yeah?
Got it.
And it has seed pods. When the flowers fade, it has a seed pod and it just explodes the seeds and it goes everywhere. And it's a plant that has a very interesting colour contained within it, that if you break a piece off, shall we do it?
Yeah, do it.
Sap, which is an incredible, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's orange basically. It's a bright orange colour inside in the sap.
I can't see that. But
No.
This is the flower, yeah?
Against my what? I don't want. That's the flower. There's a single and there's a double.
Okay.
And inside, either at any point on the plant, if you break the plant, you'll get orange fingers because it contains an orange sap. You've got to just believe me here, guys. I'm not going to draw it on my white linen blouse, but hey.
Don't do that.
And the thing with this sap is that it burns the skin.
Oh.
But, if you had a wart or a skin growth that some would want to gouge out and do plastic surgery and do all sorts of horrendous things with, well, the sooner you start, when something starts growing, the sooner you treat it, the quicker it disappears. And this is the plant that this sap will burn it the top off, but only of the wart or the growth that shouldn't be there. And it leaves no scar, no problem at all, and it doesn't grow back. Now, isn't that something that everybody could do with knowing how to recognise? Because I hear of people constantly going in to have surgery just done on the day to have something removed on the side of the nose or on anywhere on the body, and then some of them need skin grafts and all sorts of things because they remove such big pieces around it. It's not cancerous, but maybe it'll turn into being cancerous, or it's just unsightly, let's remove it. No need when you've got this. I only discovered this when I was doing my training. I'd seen the plant, I didn't know enough about it. But when I was doing my training, my mentor, the woman that I worked with, treated a guy who had the size of a 50p piece on the top of his foot, like a warty growth, which he came to see her as a medical herbalist because the doctor was going to take him in and operate and do all these sorts of things. And he said, desperate, is there anything you can do? And she said, yes, but you're really going to have to do this twice a day, and I'm going to have to give you the actual plant because it's only the fresh sap. It doesn't work if you put it in anything or treat it in any other way. You need absolute contact with the plant.
Wow. Contains isoquinoline alkaloids, notable antimicrobial activity.
You do not use it internally unless you're qualified and understand what's going on, because it can be quite toxic.
How often do you use it? Do you use it just the sap once a day for a week or so, or what do you do?
Twice a day, morning and afternoon or evening. Yeah. It depends how long it is since the warty or whatever growth starts to appear, the longer you've had it, the longer it takes to treat it, because it's become quite established in itself. But
Yes.
the fresher it is, I treated my own son. He got something on his back and he was worried about it. And he'd been to see, of course, and they, oh, yeah, we'll take it off and all the rest. I said, no, treat it with this. It was gone within 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And the guy with the 50p piece on the top of his foot took a little bit longer, of course, but it completely disappeared and healed. No surgery required. Wow. I myself, just last year, had a little growth on the side of my nose. I treated it immediately. About 2 weeks. Watch it, see what happens. And I thought, yeah, this is a bit irritable. I'm of that age where these things start appearing. Went for this.
All right, okay.
2 weeks gone, nothing.
That's amazing. But okay, quickly, like, where'd you find this flower?
In the hedgerows, usually, growing under trees.
But when? What time of the year? Because normally flowers bloom.
Now it's in great profusion. It's flowering now. It's been at it for about a month.
All right,
it dies down in winter, comes back in the summer.
So what happens if you need it in the winter?
Well, then you use a tincture from a herbalist. Medicine that's been preserved, and you can use a tincture. But it doesn't work as effectively as the fresh sap, I've discovered.
Got you.
The fresh sap works remarkably quicker and it's easier. But tincture will do it as well.
Do you know an app? Do you know any app where you can look up all these flowers and their herbal properties, and
people do it on the phone these days. They have these different apps, even Google app. They're not all wholly accurate, but people do things.
Okay. All right. Well,
working with somebody, find somebody with the knowledge and get shown. And I have some of my patients come around with a plant that are on the doorbell. Is this the right thing? Can I use this for this? And so they have that kind of a relationship with me. And they've been on herb walks with me and all sorts of other things.
Okay, well let's I think talk about our common daisy.
Common daisy again might be in your lawn.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Used to make daisy chains as children.
Yeah, we still do.
This is our arnica. This is now natural arnica. It has exactly the same properties. Its common name was bruisewort. W-O-R-T. Wort means herb in the old language. So St. John's wort, bruisewort, anything with a wort after it means that it's a herb, basically. So the clue is there that people traditionally always used it for bruising. So just like you would with arnica. So you can make your own balm or ointment by infusing just the flowers, break them up, put them in oil, put lots in, leave them in the oil, and then you've got an oil that you can use on the skin for any bruising, or you could set it with your beeswax or whatever you wanted and make a balm or an ointment. First aid cabinet. Yeah. So for bruising, absolutely perfect. But these flowers are also edible. You can also eat these as well.
Right.
Quite nice to do. But of course, for bruising, my top one is Comfrey. I use a lot of Comfrey.
Okay, we'll talk about Comfrey.
Comfrey, botanical name is Symphytum officinalis. So we're back to always been used as medicine.
Yeah.
And Symphytum officinalis, Comfrey is common name knit, as in knitting together, knitting a woolly jumper, knitting a bobble hat, because it heals broken bones in half the time if they were left alone. So if you get put in a cast or a boot or anything like that, you can't access the actual broken bone. Back in the day, that didn't used to happen. You break your wrist, you might have been pinned, but you could have, in some strapping, should I say, but it won't be in a plaster cast. But the more you can access to actually be getting the Comfrey onto the point, then wonderful.
Is that Comfrey?
There's so many Comfreys, and they come in different colours. For medicinal purposes, we mainly use the officinalis, Symphytum officinalis, but there's hundreds of Comfreys.
This is it.
Yeah.
Symphytum officinale.
There's a lot of lucky likeys as well, but they all contain allantone, which is actually, it heals the cells very, very quickly. Its chemical constituents are that it's a major healer, not just of bone, but also helps with cartilage, ligaments, anything. So even if you were to sprain an ankle or a wrist, or dislocate, or have any bruising of any sort, then Comfrey, I was brought up on it, loads of Comfrey, but we just used to bruise the leaves, strap yourself up in a cotton hanky and wear that overnight, and following morning you'd be absolutely fine. But if it's a break, obviously it's long term. We do use Comfrey internally, the aerial parts, but again, you need to know what you're doing on dose and for short-term use, because it contains chemical constituents which are a little bit, you have to be cautious with the liver. People that have treated themselves self-sufficient with too little information and knowledge have created liver damage with herbs like this, because they contain alkaloids known as PAs, as we call them, and they can be quite damaging to the liver. So we would never use Comfrey internally for a long period of time, and it'd only be for a short period of time, and it would be dose dependent on the individual and what we were actually treating. So this is where knowledge and skill really does come in. But Comfrey as an ointment or a balm is completely safe to use. And I've got some sunbathing on my kitchen windowsill at the moment in a jar, dried leaves, and they're there and they're ready for straining. They've been there for just over a month, and they're in extra virgin olive oil, and I will strain it and set it off with beeswax and make the ointments and the balms like you've had.
Amazing. Can I quickly ask you something? So with this, all these things you've just talked to me about, comfrey and all these other plants, say your lawn is just grass and you want these to grow in your garden. Can you go down to a garden centre and buy seeds? Can you buy it online?
Go to a herb nursery. These are the experts and the people who have the genuine plants, not cultivars and not, different variants on a theme. They don't have the knowledge in garden centres, I'm afraid. But the proper herb nurseries and growers do have, and the Herb Society lists some of our corporate members. That's where we were in Lincolnshire with John Cullen Gardens. He's not only organic and peat free, but he specialises in all herbs, culinary, medicinal, whatever. He's got all sorts. It was a joy to be there to actually see the place, and you can buy online or go in person.
Okay, so who was that?
John Cullen Gardens in Lincolnshire.
Okay.
But there's a number of herb nurseries in this country who know the stuff. They know the material, and that's what you want. You don't just want a garden centre. I'm afraid they don't have the knowledge. And often people end up with the wrong plants. It's not what they think it is. But yes, you can buy plug plants and you can put them in. But if you know somebody with an allotment like I've got, or somebody who just knows the plants, generous plants are there to be shared. And I even put bits in the post to people, and on my herb walks, give different plants away. So it's about community again. Get to know your community, get to know your locality, get to know people and share and do swaps. And what we talked about before, it's not all about money and spending money to get things. It's about helping one another, exchange of information, or supplying somebody with something for knowledge or for some, it's a reciprocal thing. That's what community is about. It's not always about how much money can I make by selling you this, that and the other.
I got you.
So people with allotments have so many amazing plants, and many of them don't realise what they've actually got, and they're grubbing them up and getting rid of them. And people like me are from saying, "Oh, hang on a minute, you could be doing or using or thinking of." They're a treasure trove, an allotment site, but also all sorts of nature reserves. But, you can't just go and forage and help yourself to things. It's just not allowed. You've got to ask landowners. But if you know people who know plants of gardens, there's a lot of people with gardens that are neglected. They're not even tended anymore. Nothing's happened to them for years. They will be full of amazing things.
Okay, and I've done some Googling and Google mapping, and apparently, there's a few herbal garden people close to
Around
me.
you. They'll be everywhere.
Who knew?
They'll be everywhere, yeah. So a garden centre is a modern invention owned by, again, big companies, businesses that are all over the UK and beyond, whereas a herb nursery is often privately run, family owned, smaller, but specialising, and they have top quality plants.
Yes.
And they're usually considerably cheaper too.
There's someone near me called Deborah Evans, which got me really confused because there's someone called Debbie Evans who's a former nurse and used to be a UK column presenter. So I'm like, Deborah Evans? What?
Yeah.
It's just wow. Yeah, that's nearby as well. Wow. Do you know what I think?
For us herbalists, for a long time we've used Pointsfield Nursery up in Scotland on the Black Isle, because he specialises in growing a lot of medicinal herbs. And and they come, used to come wrapped in newspaper with a rubber band round and moss. No nasty packaging and awkward stuff, all grown naturally and, just beautiful. But you can put in your lawn, to answer your question, you can get plug plants and you can put seed in, and it's about learning when's the best time to put things in. But a plug plant is nice and easy, just to, dig a little hole, put a little bit in.
I am going to look it up, because I'm going to let the lawn go, actually. I think you're right.
Please do.
Please do. I'll send you a picture.
Grass, and grass is to be lay on, played on, and to enjoyed. And, pushing up the daisies, let it happen. Let them grow. I've got everything in mine, all sorts of things. And every year it's a joy to see what else has come and joined us. It really is exciting.
Yeah, well, listen, I'll take pictures and I'll show you. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Well, listen, thank you so much, by the way, Barbara. I love you so much. You really are amazing.
Oh, bless.
Where can people find you? Where can people find you? If they want to make an appointment with you and consult you, or come and see you, where can they find you?
Okay, well, I'm up in Cheshire, but not far from Manchester Airport. And I have my own practice, but I only now do 3 days a week, but I do have a practice. I prefer to see people in person. I don't mind doing the occasional Zoom, FaceTime, anything that people want, and I don't mind an initial chat either. But in reality, I like to work one-to-one with people in my consulting room, which is where you are today. This is my consulting room. I'm sat on the other side of the desk today.
So how can people find you?
So they can find me. I don't have a website. They can find me through Herb Society website, because I'm now the chairperson of the Herb Society, and that's my volunteer work, where I do a lot of things. So you could find me there, or they could find me. I think I'm all over Google, people saying all sorts of things. But I am in the Manchester area. I'm very well known in the herbal world.
Is there an email address or telephone number they can use?
I prefer not to give those out, but people can ask through perhaps the Herb Society rather than give them out here.
All right. Okay.
I'm already busy, and I don't need to be bombed out with people, quite frankly. Because my volunteer work with the Herb Society UK is quite time consuming, and I enjoy it. And I do their Instagram page, so you can find me through their Instagram page, the Herb Society UK. In actual fact, you'd see my garden on there quite regularly, and my allotment, and you'd hear me, and occasionally you'd see me.
I love it.
So I do a lot of posting on there, and we have about 52,000 followers these days. And I'm getting some microphones and a tripod, apparently.
Is this your allotment?
No, this is where we were in Lincolnshire with John Cullen Gardens. That's you.
Okay.
That's me there with my other trustee. I'm on the right in that picture in the blue dress. That's new trustee Kate in the middle, and that's Linda, our finance support. They're all part-time. Okay. We're all part-time. And those are plants in my garden and plants in the allotment, and you hear about events. And I put reels on, and when I go to other super places like Ross and Eiger the other week, I even put that on because of the pine trees there. And wild ingredients, that's nettle seed. That's one of our trustees. Go up
you need to come and one day visit me. I keep asking.
I do.
You do.
It would be nice to have a hug.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should do it. Yeah. I do travel, especially over the summer a bit, but I go less and less into London. That's not where I really want to be.
I know, and I don't like to either. But I'm about 25 minutes out of London. So if you're ever nearby, let me know. Give me a heads up.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, final question. Sorry?
Go on.
No, you say. You go.
I was going to say, I occasionally come St Albans direction, so that's
not far.
Miles.
That's not
not a million miles. Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just down the road. Perfect. Right, Barbara. Listen, final question of the day. You're on your deathbed before you pass away and meet your maker. What words of wisdom and advice are you going to give to your loved ones?
What advice would I give? Try and have some laughter in your life every day. Don't take life too seriously. And enjoy whatever is around you, whether it be people, plants, the sky, whatever it may be. Just enjoy and appreciate.
Beautiful. Oh, I love you. Every single time I talk to you, I just feel so much happier. And yeah, I'm going to sort out my garden. I'm going to grow all this stuff. I'm telling you right now.
Remember, Ahmed, you're not a gardener. You're a guardian of land.
Yes.
We will pass through this world and we will leave tracks in the sand which will disappear. And what we think is ours now will be somebody else's in the future, and they'll do with it as they see fit. But while you have the opportunity to take control of something in your life, then do and enjoy it. But you're there to protect that land.
Yes, it's going to happen. Right. Listen, God bless you. Thank you so much. Amazing as ever.
Well, thank you. It's been a joy. Thank you.
Something on your end, the internet, you just disappeared, and
Yeah,
you
it
froze
must be.
before that.
It must be. It's all the damned interference. But just for personal, but I did put it on, I did mention it on the Instagram on one of my reels, that it's full of silica. It's silica rich. So as a medical herbalist, we only use small amounts of this in the body. And I think it was in your tincture because it helps with bones. So it helps to improve the bones, and people with bone density worry and breaks. And all
What's it called?
problems.
What's it called?
Equisetum arvensis is its botanical name. Mare's tail is a common name, or horsetail. But we need traces of silica in our body to be healthy. You know that. Just traces. Yes. But now that with chemtrails putting out all these nasty chemicals to protect ourselves so that we can still gain our minerals and absorb and utilise them, we need more silica than we did previously. So this is very important.
I think Chris Exley was talking about the importance of silica as well. So it's quite interesting you should mention that.
But this is the plant.
Wow.
So you don't want a lot, but a little bit of this in your diet. So I'm brewing it. I make tincture as well, and I dry it. I do all sorts. I make capsules for people. But it's also for the prostate gland and for the bladder and the urinary tract. It's like you read before. It does also, it hits the spot on so many things. But with your interest in what's going on in the world, chemtrails, this is becoming more and more relevant.
Wow. God, you really are a fountain of knowledge. I, Ahmed Malik, am a private civilian protected by the Geneva Convention. My Substack, social media posts, and podcasts are my personal experiences, observations, and opinions. This information is for educational purposes only. Although I am a doctor, I am not your doctor, and I am not providing medical or legal advice to you or to the wider public. I am not licensed or registered with the GMC or any other licensing board. The responsibility for the interpretation, due diligence, and use of the information from my Substack and my podcast lies with you, the viewer and/or listener. Please do your research and use your discernment. It is not my intention to harass, intimidate, offend, defame, conspire, blackmail, coerce, or cause anxiety, alarm, or distress to any man or woman, and the information presented here is done so with peaceful and honourable intentions. Enjoy, folks.
Hi, me again. You're listening to the Doc Malik podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So if you wish to support Ahmed in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or on his Substack, or simply buy him a coffee with one of the donation links which can be found at docmalik.com. Now, let's get back to the show.